El Paso goes by many names. Sun City, 915. We are known for history, culture, food, and art. In the early 1900s, development and commerce in El Paso revolved around mining and trade. The nationally recognized mission trails are just one example of the many historic sites that portray our region's rich indigenous and colonial history. Since then, El Paso has evolved, and so has its people. We take great pride in nourishing a skilled and capable workforce, with 72% of our population being bilingual. We stay competitive among other large U.S. cities. The region's border location boasts a major trade port. It allows competitive local manufacturers to produce at maximum capacity. Fleet systems are capable of worldwide distribution of parts and products. Our state-of-the-art higher education systems are nationally recognized. The Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center El Paso, the nation's first comprehensive health sciences institution on the U.S.-Mexico border, provides students the opportunities to become doctors, nurses, and researchers. The University of Texas at El Paso offers 74 bachelor's, 74 master's, and 22 doctoral programs. Local government agencies and other economic development organizations help industries become established and expand in our community. The County of El Paso is great for business, but we also keep true to our southern hospitality with plenty of outdoor recreation options. It's easy to keep active in El Paso. We are constantly looking for new industries interested in expansion. We want to offer our help and support in the process. No matter the name, El Paso is proud, strong, progressive. We are El Paso. Come see what we can do together.
You are watching the broadcast of the El Paso County Commissioners Court meetings. Commissioners Court meetings are held every Monday at 9:30 a.m. on the third floor of the El Paso County Courthouse, located at 500 East San Antonio in downtown El Paso. These meetings are open to the public. The meeting will start momentarily.
Stay cool this summer by visiting any of the El Paso County pools, Tuesday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Don't forget about Family Night on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. For more information, call 915-771-2380.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online.
Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the Purchasing Department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barril started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for this specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
You are watching the broadcast of the El Paso County Commissioners Court meetings. Commissioners Court meetings are held every Monday at 9:30 a.m. on the third floor of the El Paso County Courthouse, located at 500 East San Antonio in downtown El Paso. These meetings are open to the public. The meeting will start momentarily.
morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, July 29, 2019. Commissioners Court is meeting in regular open session. Would you please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation from Pam Ferroni.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can have a seat and those that would like to bow your head as the invocation is recited. Thank you so much.
Judge, commissioners, county officers, and all who are here today, you are welcome to bow your heads and join me if you so choose. Almighty God, this is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We are thankful for the dawn of each new day in which you allow us to live and breathe and serve our fellow man. How grateful we are for those who are before us today, these elected officials who sacrificially give of themselves to conduct the business of the people of El Paso County. Now, Lord, as our judge and commissioners think of their own personal needs and the needs of those they love, let them bundle all those concerns together and hand them to you. Strengthen their faith and trust in you as you work in each situation, and let their minds be free and clear to address the responsibilities before them today. We pray now the words of the prophet Isaiah for a spirit of justice to him who sits in judgment, and we pray that you, Lord, will make justice the measuring line and righteousness the plumb line of those who sit on this commissioner's court. Thank you that we can boldly and confidently bring our requests before the very throne of the one who created us, who loves us, and who gave his life for us. May your mercies extend to all who come before your court today. In the most holy name of Jesus, amen, and so be it.
Mrs. Ferroni, thank you so much for the invocations. Besides being a great person, you have a great son and great husband that I've met. So thank you very much for being here. Jessica?
Thank you, Judge. Item number 4 is the consent agenda, composed of items 4A through 4G. Are there any items that the members of the court or public would like to pull for individual discussion?
Commissioners?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson is absent. Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 5A, resolutions. Approve and adopt a resolution recognizing July 28, 2019 as World Hepatitis Day in El Paso County, Texas.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I have the privilege of reading this resolution, and today we have representatives from the Zaragoza Rotary Club, if you'd like to come up to the podium. Whereas hepatitis B and hepatitis C and liver disease caused by these viruses are urgent global concerns, where an estimated 400 million people worldwide have the disease, and approximately 1.3 million people worldwide die each year due to hepatitis. And whereas in 2018, El Paso County had over 800 cases of hepatitis, with the majority being hepatitis C cases that usually do not have any symptoms. And whereas between 2015 and 2020, the United States will spend an estimated $136 million on hepatitis C drugs. And whereas hepatitis C is 10 times more infectious than HIV, and hepatitis B is 50 to 100 times more infectious than HIV. An estimated 33% of people who live in the United States who are infected with HIV are also infected with hepatitis B or C. And whereas the goals of World Hepatitis Day are to highlight the global nature of chronic viral hepatitis epidemics, recognize that hepatitis can be prevented and eliminated in part through a comprehensive public education and awareness campaign designed to identify those at risk for and living with hepatitis, inform patients about new treatments that are available for hepatitis, and help increase the length and quality of life for people diagnosed with chronic hepatitis B and hepatitis C infections. And whereas the Hepatitis Zero Week is the largest campaign in the world and is taking place simultaneously in 50 countries, the test will be carried out from July 20th to August 4th. And whereas the Zaragoza Rotary Club in El Paso, Texas, carried out a rapid hepatitis C event testing for men and women over the age of 40 on July 27, 2019, over 200 residents participated in the event, where the club seeks to break the silence that exists about the disease, diagnosing people who have the virus but who are unaware of the situation they are in. Now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Commissioners Court that July 28, 2019 is recognized as World Hepatitis Day, signed this 29th day of July 2019 by the honorable members of the Commissioners Court.
Second.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Commissioner Leon,
Aye.
Commissioner Stout,
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. And we have members of the Zaragoza Rotary Club who dedicate a lot of their time to various efforts in the community. We have Ofelia Miletsko, and then we have Michael Dennis, Alfred Ihar, Myrna Naylor, Pastor Carl Heimer, and Lucia Najra. We thank you for your service and thank you for raising awareness to this very important issue.
Your Honor, the Zaragoza Rotary Club would like to thank Commissioner Vicente Perez for bringing this to your attention and to also the time to the court to take time to recognize the World Hepatitis Day on July 28 and the recognition to the work that our club has done. I'll give you a brief update of what happened on Saturday. The Zaragoza Rotary Club united efforts with the Hepatitis Eradication Rotarian Action Group in Brazil. This is a project that originated in Brazil and quickly spread all over the world. The worldwide event on testing for hepatitis C in El Paso. The event was done in cooperation with the Isleta Mission Human Care and HIV Disease Intervention Section of the Health Department in El Paso. 4 testing modules were set for an audience of 200 people, on which 31 patients were tested. Patients were treated with a fun and a friendly atmosphere with music, pizza, and refreshments while waiting to be tested. As you see, you cannot see, but we have some pictures from the event. This is a gentleman in Brazil that was able to start the project, and like I said, quickly, within a couple of years, it was done in 80 countries. Those are pictures from the event from yesterday from our club, and those are pictures from different countries in the world. And you see Argentina, Peru, Nigeria, a few countries in Africa, and of course the Zaragoza Rotary Club, where in a lot of the social media posts over the weekend, and more is still coming through the day. And these vests were received from Brazil. They distributed all over the world for the event. We wore ours, and so we brought a few of them. So I know we're going to be taking a picture with all of you, so we would like to see if you can just, I don't know if they fit you, but if you can just hold it like this for the picture.
They might be a little large for us.
But we'll go ahead and pass them on. And well, thank you again for recognizing this day of hepatitis C. As you see, this tremendous effect on the health. And I would like to pass the microphone to any of our members that may like to make a comment. Alfred? And how...
So I'm the one that brought this project to the attention of the president. I received an email from Humberto Silva, who is the Rotarian Action Group president in Brazil. He had hepatitis C at one time, and he got screened for it, and he got treated for it. And so he wanted to start this endeavor and have World Hepatitis Day throughout the world, so Africa, South America here. I got the email asking for any other fellow Rotarians who would like to do that in their own district. And when I got the email, I knew this would be great for us. So I met up with Ofelia for lunch one day, brought it to her attention. We talked about it, and we decided to go forward with it. So that's where it all began. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank Commissioner Perez for bringing this awareness in. And before we go to our next resolution, I want to invite all of you to come on Mondays, because I can't begin to tell you the things that you'll listen to, the resolutions that come in front of us. And for people to be involved in local government is just so powerful. It sort of saddens me sometimes when there's a resolution and there's not a lot of people that can convey it. Now, it's being broadcasted to our county employees, which are incredible employees that take the word further. But we thank you for anything for our community that especially prevention. We've struggled so much. I mean, it's hard to get money for prevention. It's hard to look at prevention because it's not understood. It's, cierran el pozo cuando se ahoga el niño is kind of the attitude. And so, but we have people, incredible people like Jacob Cintron that I know he's listening, and I know he could be a great partner to what you're trying to accomplish. Hospital UMC is doing an amazing job. So thank you for being here today, yourselves and the audience, for being here and listening to this awareness that so important for our community. We have a beautiful community. Let's keep it really healthy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right.
Item 5B, approve and adopt a resolution recognizing the newly unveiled El Paso County Veterans Wall of Honor and encourage the continued efforts to promote El Paso County, Texas as the Veterans Capital of the United States.
Well, I have the privilege of presenting the resolution. Whereas the Veterans Wall of Honor is designated to honor all veterans of El Paso County, Texas, who have served and defended our great nation throughout American history. And whereas we remember and pay tribute to those who fought and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the following war eras, beginning in 1898, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf War, Operations Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn, and the Islamic State Operation. And whereas El Paso County is proud of our veteran service organizations and chapters who, after serving their country, continue to go above and beyond, give back to the community we all love and call home. And whereas a Veteran of the Year will be selected in honor of their military service and for the work they have done to make a positive impact throughout the country. Whereas our veterans are a dynamic part of our region as they continue to lead the way through volunteering, voting, community engagement, and are always there to lend a helping hand to some of our most vulnerable residents. And whereas El Paso County is committed to ensuring a strong partnership with Fort Bliss, home of America's Tank Division, and encourages service members and their families who are retiring or separating from the military to make El Paso their home. And whereas El Paso County will continue to champion and support veterans by collaborating with community organizations to provide accessibility and high-quality health care, education, employment, and quality of life to ensure we remain a veteran-ready community. Whereas the sense of pride we have in our veterans is unlike any other community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that the El Paso County Veterans Wall of Honor be recognized as a symbol of unity as we work together to promote El Paso County as the Veterans Capital of the United States of America. Signed this 29th day of July, 2019.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Come on. Make a big picture here. Come on, let's go.
For me, please.
Looks in the back.
And a little more.
Don't be afraid. It's very close. It's close to it. Balance is an arm.
Good morning, Commissioner Judge. I want to introduce Mr. Bruce Beagle. He actually works from TVC, and he has an actual certificate that he wants to present for the County of El Paso.
Thank you, Efren. And in light of the intent of the county to become the Veterans Capital of the United States and the goal of becoming veteran ready, the city is also working to become veteran ready. And both the county and the city have earned the We Hire Vet certificate. What that means is they have over 10% of their own workforce is veterans. So I want to present the certificate to the county, and thank you very much. Well on the way to becoming veteran ready. And I'd like my counterpart from the Texas Veterans Commission, Kevin, to come up here and help me present it. It's the County of El Paso. On behalf of the Texas Workforce Commission and Texas Veterans Commission, we want to thank you for participating in the We Hire Vets Employer Recognition Program. We commend you for taking the initiative to hire Veterans Heroes. And it's signed by Commissioner Ruth Hughes of the Texas Workforce Commission and Chairman Al Cantu of the Texas Veterans Commission. So congratulations to the county. Well on the way to becoming veteran ready and Veterans Capital of the United States. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I give the effort. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
happened at the airport last week when I was passing around.
You got it covered.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Item number 6, public comment. We do have one guest signed up to speak today, Mr. Pierre Andre Uzarga.
That's it. Commissioner Robbins, you know what's here.
Thank you, Mike.
Morning.
Good morning.
The veterans are a cool bunch because they travel the world. They experience different heritage is different cultures, different people. The U.S. military is composed and compiled of just a diverse group of people, and some of them consume cannabis for medicinal reasons. Others consume it for recreational reasons. Some may have consumed back when they were younger, maybe my age, and perhaps not as much now. But the military is a very unique bunch, and we should always honor their presence. I always do in my own unique way, but I tip my head off to them. How many are we Democrats? Are they Democratic veterans or are they Republican veterans? It's only in times when we're under pressure, or times when we've been attacked, or times when we have to make a move where we put our left and our right aside and we come into the center and we move as a unit. It's only under times of stress where that happens, and it's not, we should be celebrating our unity every day. Waking up and, praying and what have you, thanking God for me to wake up my eyes, kissing my children, and going to work. Military, they have their jobs, so they go to work. You suits, I call myself a suit. We have to wake up and go to work. But we're not this, and we should be this. I don't care about color. I don't care about height, shapes. All I care about is this. It's an idea of waking up and me respecting my personal space, respecting the personal space of a veteran, of a county judge, of a police officer. But right now we don't do that because we're separated. Multi-party system, multi-government system is detrimental to our health, to our mental health, to our wallets, our pocketbooks. We're fighting each other for the budget. Or the left says we need this amount, the right says we need that amount to fund the military, or health care, or prison system, what have you. And we should streamline all of our money, all of our power, all of our goals into one American basket. That way the leaders who are elected by the voters, who the veterans protect, can say, okay, this is what we need to do with the money. We need to focus on this amount. These programs are a waste of our money, and taxpayers' money should be instead spent on these programs. But again, we don't do that. We got the left and we got the right. The American Political Party, which is a party I founded, if I was a veteran, I'd be very, very, very deeply concerned with the American Political Party Committee, because as a chairman of this party, I'm here to promote the one-party system, the one-party government. We don't have to worry about, is this veteran a Democrat or is this veteran a Republican? I know with the American Political Party, once that's established, I know when I wake up, my veterans, my law enforcement officers, we're all American. My teachers, the kids, so on and so forth. There's 320 million Americans. So there's a lot of different occupations, but we're all part of the same home ground. If you're going to put a wall up, that's fine, but let's all focus on the one-party system, the one-party government. That way we're all a part of the same country with no division on ideas. All of the ideas are
30
unison,
seconds.
as this word defines. This word means one nation under God. One nation. That's what American should mean. So, you know, when the debates are coming up, think about that. Hold on to your money and perhaps think about contributing, endorsing your monetary resources, human resources to the American political party, because, hey, I could use the help so that I can show my fellow Americans
Time.
what it takes to incorporate this one-party government, one-party system.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless America till next week.
Thank you.
Item number 7, County Administration. Discuss and take appropriate action regarding the FY 2020 Strategic Plan.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm presenting this morning on the county strategic plan that the Commissioners Court has been compiling since earlier this year. This is the strategic plan looking forward for the next 5 years. The vision the county has adopted is our unique heritage, diverse economy, and unified regional leadership provide an extraordinary quality of life for all. The mission is delivering sound and exceptional public services to the people of El Paso County through judicious, efficient, and responsive government and the conscientious development of ideas that produce compassionate solutions to our community's obligations, challenges, and ever-changing demands. I also want to note that we did offer a employee department contest to develop this mission statement. We brought those options to Commissioners Court, and the particular statement that was selected and was just modified slightly by the court to be adopted was presented by county administration, specifically at the leadership of Cesar Nava.
Thank you, Mr. Nava.
Our core values that the court has identified and that we did also solicit input from our employees are excellence, professionalism, integrity, and creativity. The court identified 9 main strategic goals. They're listed here. We're going to go through them individually. Lead justice reform is one of the first goals. The objectives listed underneath are in priority order as identified by the court. They include things from creating a strategic plan for solutions that are for issues that are identified in our Meadows study and the HOK study, which is currently underway, which is a study of our jail systems as far as facilities and efficiencies that can be gained. Reducing recidivism is a very high priority. Incarcerating those that are a high risk to public safety, using technology to increase efficiency, and of course remodeling the downtown jail and repurposing it to match improved justice system. We also have as a moderate priority to receive NACO recognition for justice reform. The court has already done that this year, and we'll look for other opportunities in the future. Transforming economic development is another main goal for the county. This includes everything from increasing the commercial tax base, focusing on attracting higher wage industries, supporting the creation of a regional development workforce development plan, supporting Fort Bliss, working on developing the Lockheed site, attracting more defense contractors, attracting Fortune 500 companies over the next 10 years. Increasing tourism is a major goal for the county. This includes implementing the Mission Trail Master Plan with partners and earning the UNESCO designation, something you're going to hear more about today. Investing in Ascarity Meadows, Judge Samdiego's favorite name for Ascarity Park, and in the All Abilities Playground and increasing visitors to the park. Also modernizing and upgrading the Coliseum, having San Elizario and Mission Trail host more visitors than Mesilla. We know that we're more historic. We know we have more value, but that's one of our focuses. And also exploring the possibility of adding an amphitheater to the county's facilities. We're looking at a goal of upgrading infrastructure. This includes everything from building infrastructure to meet the needs of the community, expanding our public transit system, constructing a hangar at our Fabens Airport to promote economic development, our downtown revitalization participation being via a world-class county facility and garage and improved courthouse, supporting the development of fiber infrastructure, and promoting sustainable development, among others. Promote collaboration and engagement. We're looking to be have regional and binational collaboration, creating a vehicle to work on trade, healthcare, economic development, and other regional issues. Being among the best in census participation with measurable improvement. Collaborating internally to increase cohesion and be able to obtain results. Collaborating externally to achieve better outcomes. Communicate and market the county broadly. Commissioners Court participating in national, state, and local boards, and additional recognitions as listed. Advancing community support services. We see this as meeting the needs of the most vulnerable. This includes addressing public housing, developing and implementing programs to eradicate poverty and increase social mobility, reaching functional zero for homelessness, creating a digital library system to promote literacy, creating the Office of New Americans, identifying and supporting pilot projects, supporting pilots and other programs that assist with education attainment, and implementing kiosks to find nearest available housing, among others. Value the El Paso County family. We're looking to attract and retain an A+ county workforce. We want to study our employees to learn what drives retention and respond and act on those findings. We're working on a plan to increase the minimum county employee wage, increasing job growth and career progression plans for county employees, using technology and adopting policies for driving attraction and retention, such as a telecommute policy, paid parental leave, expanding employee education policy, and progressive employment practices, and additional items to make sure we attract and maintain this A+ workforce to reduce voluntary turnover. Strengthening financial health. These objectives include aligning revenue and expense growth, reducing the cost of incarceration with reduced jail population, allocating proper funding for maintenance of county assets, having participatory budget, and earning the popular annual financial reporting award, among others. Optimizing our internal processes. This is to help us enable data-driven decision-making, improve our Public Works Department Development Division output with streamlining and accountability. You recently received a report on the actions we're taking there. Utilizing information technology to improve efficiency and effectiveness. Evaluate and assess current business processes, and implement a management system such as Lean Six Sigma. Those are the summary of the goals and the objectives. And we've reviewed this. The court has worked on this several times over the past 6 months, and we would ask that the court consider approving and adopting the plan today. Are there any questions I can answer?
Commissioners?
That's a question. In regards to the technology, not anything new, but the recent events that occurred in the nation in regards to cybersecurity. How are we?
Yes, sir. And also the state of Texas also recently passed some legislation regarding cybersecurity and required training. I would say the county is probably ahead of most. Chris Stathis, our IT director, and I had a discussion about this last week where he was participating in a discussion with this amongst other counties who were scrambling to figure out what they're going to do for their cybersecurity. We already have cybersecurity training established. We don't generally discuss all of the details of what protections we have in place, but we are working on it, and there are additional measures we're taking. We also have an internal cybersecurity team to help us respond to and be prepared, respond to any incidents and be prepared for any incidents.
So we're prepared as far as knowing the triggers And when they go off?
We are as prepared. I don't think you can ever be too prepared,
Right.
but we are aware and we are being proactive.
Proactive, good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Pettis?
Everybody who's involved in the process, it's not easy to come up with a strategic plan, and yet alone a process where everybody participates and contributes, and especially when we were wrestling with the mission and vision statement. But I really just want to thank you for all the work that went into it. I think it gives us a good roadmap, for the years ahead, and certainly things that we can add or modify as we go forward. But certainly it's a very strong start. I want to thank you for all your work on that.
I think we have a great partnership with you and your team, so thank you for facilitating it and making it not too painful. I mean, it was very nice the way you approached it, so thank you, Betsy, for your hard work.
Oh, Ms. Betsy, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
This last, you said thank you. Where those come from?
Those are at our park from our 4th of July event.
I don't see the county judge out there.
You don't see the what?
The county judge.
Oh, you all were there. I have the pictures.
No, he was right in the middle of it. We had fun.
We have to improve that picture.
Yes, sir.
I do want to tell you all, the department head team, the departments, our staff, we really appreciate the court providing this level of direction and this vision for us. And we are all very excited to get, we're already working on these objectives, and we're all very excited to be working towards this vision. And also your values you've adopted with employee input. I don't think I was thinking about this today when our veterans were here. Excellence, professionalism, integrity, creativity. That's reminds me of the military as well. I mean, and you have to be nimble, and you have to be, but you demand excellence because you're proud. You're very proud, and we are very proud of our county. We're proud of Commissioners Court and the role you all provide for us as leaders. We have a very motivated team, a very motivated workforce, and we're excited to get to work on this.
I just want to thank you as well, Betsy, and you and your team and the rest of the court. It's I think it's nice that yearly we get together and we're able to set some common goals and make sure that we prioritize what we're doing. We're not doing things kind of willy-nilly or arbitrarily. I think we all understand that there are a lot of different projects and a lot of different things that we could be working on, and but we have to prioritize, right? I think, and it's too bad there's not any press here. I'd love to get this out to the public and really let the public know and understand kind of where we're looking at going as a county, and they can understand why we make the expenditures we make. They can understand why we're doing what we're doing and what we are doing. Sorry, I cannot speak this morning, but I really appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this. I think without a strategic plan, things would just be running amok. And I know that our team, our employees, are the best employees that we can find, and they're going to be very, I think, proud of the work that they're going to be doing. I think it gives them a great purpose and a great sense of pride to be able to get these projects done. And there are lots of tangible things that we have been doing and we will continue to do. And we really have to be thankful to our employees for backing us up and making sure that we all look good. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And just real quick, Commissioner, on your comment about the media, we are also working on our own branding and are doing a better job of making sure it's clearly communicated in our facilities, in our communications, in just everything we do, what the court has adopted as far as our vision, our mission, our values, and our goals that we're working towards.
It's going to be epic, right?
It will be epic.
Yeah. Commissioner Leon?
Betsy, thanks a lot. I've got to tell you that as we met, this isn't something that was just thought of overnight and we come and put it together. Just when you thought that we had it all lined up and working with a court, and there's some disagreements at times, and that's what makes us so effective. And right before you go to the printer, we say, well, we don't like this word, we change it, and that's why the plan is what it is right now. So I know that it's very difficult for you sometimes because you have to work with the five of us, but we appreciate your patience, and this is the type of excellence that you see now, thanks to you and your staff, and number one, our employees out there. Thank you. So how would the...
It'd be a motion to approve the strategic plan?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As it was just read up, I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you,
Much
Betsy.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Item number 8, Auditor. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Title 10, Section 2256.003, please accept the attached investment report for the third quarter and 9 months ended June 30th, 2019.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
John
Morning. Good morning.
Auditor's Office, Financial Reporting. Is our quarterly investment update, directly linked to our strategic plan, investment goals. Goal 1 is investing funds in the principles of safety, liquidity, diversification. Goal 2 is return on investment. This gives you is a breakdown of the different types of investments. We are allowed the ones under the green, which are government-sponsored enterprise, which is the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Federal Home Loan Bank, Federal Farm Credit Bank, Treasury notes, Treasury bills, and then is the local government investment pools and money market funds. Treasury rates. As you can see, the Treasury rate for the 3-month, and this is a rate comparison, is 2.45, 6 months 2.41. Actually, this graph shouldn't have been in those. This presentation's the wrong presentation. That's up on the screen.
So stick it up.
Okay. Currently is, as of June 30th, Treasury rates were for the 3 months 2.22%, 6 months 2.17%, 1 year 2%, 2 year is at 1.81%. 5-year at 1.83, and the 10-year at 2.07. We are in an inverted yield curve right now. And the tax pool prime rate was at 2.52 as of June 30th, and tax pool rate at 2.38. Our investment summary, if you look at compared to a year ago, we had in cash is 21.67. Currently, we have 29.87. currently we have 21.67, and in last year we had 29.02 in cash. We had 5.41 currently invested in tax pool. We had 22.28 in tax pool last year, and this year we have 197 million in tax pool prime, and compared to 176 million in 18. That's still the wrong.
Yeah, I think that presentation is what's included in the backup.
Okay. That's my fault for not double checking the presentation. I will have the correct presentation out there.
I'd agree on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move to table for 1 week.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Tax Assessor Collector. Accept the 2019 effective and rollback tax rates for El Paso County. Effective tax rate, 0.450682 per $100. Rollback tax rate, 0.488997 per $100. If El Paso County adopts a 2019 tax rate equal to the effective tax rate of 0.450682 per $100 of value, taxes would increase compared to 2018 taxes by $2,924,550.
Good morning, Judge, County Commissioners, Ruben Gonzalez, County Tax Collector. We're here to do this again, and I brought my subject matter expert, Angela Brinkley, to present you the presentation and give you all the data that you need to know to make a decision. So with that, I'll yield to her and to see what happens. Thank you.
No pressure, Angela.
No pressure. Thank you very much. Good morning, County Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
We're back again. Angela Brinkley, County Tax Office. I'm here with your annual presentation of the effective rollback tax rates for the County of El Paso, the 2019 tax season coming up. As you know, we are not here to discuss adopting a rate at this point. This is simply to give you the effective tax rate and the rollback tax rate in an open form so that you may begin your budget season knowing what your essentially your no new taxes or no new revenue rate will be and what your ceiling will be before you could possibly incur a voter rollback election on your tax rate for this tax season. So this year, let me go over what an effective tax rate is. So the effective tax rate represents the rate that would generate the same amount of revenue in the current tax year as was generated by the county's adopted tax rate in the preceding year from property that is taxable in both the current tax year and the preceding tax year. And your rollback rate is the highest rate the county may adopt before taxpayers may initiate rollback proceedings. So with that being said, the 2019 effective tax rate for El Paso County is 0.450682 per $100 of property value. Your 2019 rollback tax rate is 0.488997 per $100 of property tax value. And for comparative purposes, your 2018 tax rate was 0.447819, below the current effective tax rate. So we request that you accept these tax rates as presented for the 2019 tax year.
Commissioners?
Judge.
Commissioner Perez?
And Betsy Wally, this is just what we do every year, where it's not necessary that we're going to, just to, for the media out there and for the public's information, this doesn't mean that we're going to accept the rollback rate. It's just an acknowledgement of what the effective rates and the rollback rates are as we begin our budget proceedings. We haven't begun that process yet, and but there's certain statutory timelines that require us to publish these numbers, and so we're just doing that to let the public know what the effective and the rollback rate is.
Correct.
The other issue, Commissioners, is I sit on the Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, and if you'll notice, something that's unique about our effective tax rate this year is that the effective rate exceeds our 2018 tax rate. We're probably the only county in Texas where this happens. It's a very unusual circumstance. Typically, what happens in other parts of Texas is the property values keep going up, and this is what the legislature has, been talking about when it comes to regulating how much we can raise taxes every year. But so in other parts of Texas, the values are going up, and hence the effective tax rate goes down. But here we have the unusual circumstance where the total value of our property went down, so essentially our effective rate went up to generate the same. But I think there's issues with CAD. We're going to probably receive a presentation on this during budget time. I think there's issues with the way that the Central Appraisal District appraised property. I think they were a bit conservative in their final analysis of the certified value, and it's unfortunate that it's affected the effective tax rates for all taxing entities. But that's the deadlines that were dealt with. The certified roll was due July 25th. But I do have some issues with the value of the certified roll. We've seen consistent growth over the last several years, and this year suddenly it just sort of surprised all the large taxing entities. It's going to affect UMC, the county, and the city, where the total value of the certified roll was less than what it was last year, and that's affecting our effective rate. But just wanted to.
Well, thank you for your comments, Commissioner Perez.
Yes, we just need a motion to approve the item as written.
Motion to accept the item as written. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Motion to accept.
That was a question.
Oh, Carl? Commissioner?
The certified tax roll was due the 25th?
Fifth, yes, sir.
So it's not in yet.
The certified tax roll was actually delivered a week earlier than usual, a week prior to the statutory due rate of July 25th. So
Was that
we
based on
received
100%?
It was at 100%. 100% certified by the chief appraiser. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10, accept the 2019 effective and rollback tax rate calculations for the El Paso County Hospital District. Effective tax rate 0.253519 per $100. Rollback tax rate 0.267747 per $100. If the El Paso County Hospital District adopts a 2019 tax rate equal to the effective tax rate of 0.253519 per $100 of value, taxes would increase compared to 2018 taxes by $1,810,765.
Hello again. Okay, I'm here also to present the El Paso County Hospital District effective and rollback tax rates. Once again, we're simply here to adopt the effective and rollback tax rates, not to discuss a new tax rate for adoption. And the 2019 effective tax rate, as calculated, is 0.253519 per $100 of value. The 2019 rollback tax rate is 0.267747 per $100 of property value. And as for comparative purposes, the 2018 tax rate was 0.251943. And so we request that you accept these rates as calculated.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout? Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 11, approve and authorize the publication of any and all related tax notices in the El Paso Times, El Diario, and the West Texas Courier for El Paso County, the El Paso County Hospital District, and the El Paso County Emergency Services District Number 1 on or about the week of August 4, 2019. Funding is available in General Fund, Tax Office, Advertising.
Angela Brinkley again. We are requesting to be able, your approval to publish for two entities. We still currently publish rates for two entities in El Paso County. We publish for the Hospital District, UMC, and we publish for ESD1. So we're requesting your approval to go ahead and publish those rates prior to the August 7th statutory deadline for these to be published in the Times or the periodical of widest publication in El Paso County.
Move to approve.
Second. A question, how many times would it run in those publications? How many times would it run?
I'm sorry, it
You
runs for
notice-
1 day.
Just one
It's
day?
a 1-day notice, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Is it based on circulation, the difference between Diario and El Paso Times?
Yes, for that district, it is based on circulation per the code.
Commissioner Perez?
And I got a question regarding the ESDs. Are we required to, so we have the hospital district in the county where we have the effective and the rollback. Are we not required to do the same with the ESDs?
The ESDs, their budgets, their tax rates that were calculated are presented to the boards. I know Angie in the tax office does the calculation for ESD number 1.
1, yes.
City of El Paso does the calculation for ESD number 2, but both boards have already received their same tax information as presented to them.
Commissioner, is whether we have to acknowledge the effective rate and the rollback rate.
Right. I mean, since now that we have, I guess, sort of similar authority that we do with UMC, we don't have to go through the same process where it comes before Commissioners Court, not just the boards? Or is the board still the mechanism where they publicize the effective and the rollback?
I know the board publicizes one of the two. Tax assessor publishes the one that they calculate. So city does one and county does one. As far as the presentation and the actual official representation of the calculation, not to my knowledge. I know it hasn't been presented to the county. I don't believe the statute requires it to be presented. There's no harm, no foul. It could be presented to the county just for informational purposes, certainly.
And we'll take a closer look at that, Commissioner.
Yeah.
I want to go back and look at the statute. I know that has changed. We recognize that legislation, so and it mirrored the hospital district. So let me double check on that before giving you a final
Because it's a little
answer.
unusual if the city still, I'm sure there's probably some reason why the city does that, but if ultimately we're the ones that give the final up or down vote on the tax rate, I'm sure there has to be
Yes.
some, and if not, there probably should be a legislative cleanup on that.
Absolutely. We'll double check that legislation. Thank you.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank you.
next
Thank
year.
you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Arturo, thanks.
Item number 12, Economic Development. Receive a presentation from Dover, Cole, and Partners on the Mission Trail Comprehensive Master Plan.
We'll go.
Judge?
I think Jessica's ready.
We had a guest signed up for item number 12. We're on 12, right?
Item number 12?
For the economic.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see any.
We're probably going to start it.
Maya
Economic
Sanchez.
development.
I apologize. It will be for this presentation.
For this one right now?
Number 12.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jessica.
Good morning, Judge Samaniego, Commissioners. Valerie Venecia, Heritage Tourism Coordinator for the Economic Development Department. And we're very excited to present the draft of the Comprehensive Master Plan for the Mission Trail. We're thrilled to have Mr. Jason King, the Project Director from Dover, Cole, and Partners with us today to present the draft. And also want to mention that this version that you're going to be presented with today does reflect feedback and recommendations from the community, including Ms. Maya Sanchez, City Administrator for San Elizario, as well as both members from municipal governments and the community throughout all three communities, Isleta, Socorro, and San Elizario. Without further ado, Mr. Jason King.
My name is Jason. Thank you for having me.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, this is exciting. So this comprehensive plan for the Mission Valley fits into the larger strategic plan that we were just discussing before. What this plan does is it zooms in a little bit more. So whereas the last plan was large, big level, huge ideas, this is the one that goes down to the level of the lot and the street and the block and the neighborhood. And so we're going to zoom in and show some visualizations. At the end of the day, the plan is a guiding document to direct capital improvements, evaluate development projects, guide public policy, and ensure that the Mission Valley is the place its residents want it to be. So our timeline, we started last year around November. We've been working on the plan for about 8 months. We had a public charrette in November. We presented the plan, we've done plan revisions, and here we are in the timeline moving along to the approval process. In November, at the Isleta del Sur Pueblo Tribal Courthouse, we had a public event everybody was able to attend, and we had multiple people, like the county judge attend, commissioners came, and we started off by touring the Mission Valley. Rick Caseta, the Cultural Preservation Director for the Tiguan Indians, took us around, and we got to meet members and see those sites. We got to tour the missions inside and out and talk to the diocese. And for me, the last time I was really in El Paso working on a plan was 8 years ago, working with Commissioner Robinson on Plan El Paso. Yep. And these were the areas I used to go to escape all the public meetings and all the deadlines. And I would go out to these beautiful spiritual areas, and it was wonderful to be working with them this time around. Our hands-on design session, facilitated by Valerie, had maximum public involvement. We had older people and younger people, newcomers, people who've been in the mission for a very long time. You see in these pictures city administrators and elected officials and appointed officials. And they presented their ideas to us, just drawing their ideas on maps. Those ideas became the foundation of the plan. And what we did is we take the ideas that we get from the public, and then we meet. We meet with the elected officials, we meet with residents and the tribe, we met with local artists and developers, cultural tourism representatives, UNESCO representatives, elected official, transit providers. And we take the ideas we get from the public and we bounce it off of the people whose jobs it ultimately becomes to implement. In the course of just those 4 days, we talked to a lot of people, over 500. And since then, in the ensuing months, we've been talking to even more people to get the plan right. I'm going to just show you a couple highlights like this. The one-word card. Those 500 or so people filled out these cards. One word that comes to mind about the Mission Trail now and in the future. And we took those answers, we put them together, we turned it into a word cloud. One word that comes to mind about the Mission Trail now. The more times a word was said, the larger it became. See, people see historic and opportunity and clean, but you also see forgotten and undervalued and unappreciated. Historic was the number one word, forgotten was right there. And one word that came to mind in the future was destination. The people in the area know that they have absolutely everything that any other place, any great place that people want to go to have. It's a major destination. It's a rich history. It's 300 years of history in art and culture. So destination. And that was interesting. That sort of set the path for the project. So we did the 4 or 5 days of working with the public. We got back in front of them. We did keypad polling. We asked if the plan was in the right on the right track. 80% of people said yes, and 10% said probably yes. And then that last 10%, was the part that we've been trying to work to convince in the last 8 months. Now I'll show you some of the pages, some of the highlights from the comprehensive plan. The study area is the Mission Trail, so that's 9 miles along Socorro Road, areas east, areas north and south and west. It includes the Isleta Mission, Socorro Mission, and the chapel at San Elizario. The plan talks about the history of these different areas. It works hard to distinguish the different identities and the different communities. It talks about, it does an overview, economic overview of demographics. There's some things you're excited to see. The fact that it's a young population. The income is actually quite healthy in that area. And there's a lot of people who have moved somewhere else, to Santa Fe or to Denver, and they're moving back into the Mission Valley with new ideas and excitement. On the other hand, it's an area that has low graduation rates, very low home ownership rates, low business ownership rates. And so increasing the graduation rates and increasing the ownership rates are a big part of the plan. 5 big ideas to summarize the conversation we had. Create complete centers around each mission and chapel. Protect and enhance historic assets and agricultural landscapes. add destinations and events, add trails, improve streets to connect the Mission Valley, and expand the economic base and identify multiple funding sources. So I got to be the project director of a multidisciplinary team, including trail experts, economists, transportation experts, historic, and UNESCO experts, who all worked on the plan, took these ideas, and turned it into the plan. Create complete centers. 10 out of 10 of the tables that were presenting ideas said that this was needed to be an important thing. And what they were trying to communicate to us, I felt like, throughout the shred, is how much is actually currently going on in these areas. There are a lot of events. There are celebrations and there are festivals. The number one thing they were afraid of was let's not let the new push out the old. Let's celebrate what we have and let's reinforce it. And let's make sure everything fits within what we're currently doing, because we've been working hard at that. That was important. People were talking about protecting and enhancing the agricultural landscape, especially the San Elizario community. And our team was tasked with looking at these big lands, often fallow, and to try to figure out what we could do to help the protections in the areas. Connecting the Mission Valley, 8 out of 10 tables said connections, trails, and street improvements, and you'll see a lot of that. We asked the public, do you like the idea of rural pedestrian bike trails? Just trails. And 90% said yes. So you get, this is a consensus item. This is one that people can agree on. When it comes to the hard work of spending your money based on the taxes that you're going to have to wrestle over, I can tell you that trails is something that the public comes together about and is excited about. Expanding the economic base, making sure that the prosperity there works for everyone in the valley. Our land use and urban design element, it's economic development focused. It talks about there's so many vacant parcels. And yet, all this many vacant parcels at the same time, there's not a lot of outdoor recreational activities. That was part of it. I want to show you some ideas that were discussed and some renderings. This is a spot in San Elizario, the Paseo de Convento and the Socorro Road. It's just one little spot like you find in a lot of areas. Right now it's being used for grazing, which is perfectly good, use for the property. However, you could imagine more. You can imagine affordable housing and community gardens. You could imagine a better activization of that. Right now, the land development regulations wouldn't allow that. Really, it's just 5 houses instead of 2 large ones. It's a community garden in a shared space. It's a spot to showcase agriculture. And it brings people to the Mission Valley. It can be done in a way that's historically appropriate, in a way that creates centers of activity, that kind of thing. We're trying to figure out how that could happen on more places was part of the plan. And then, scaling this, making it larger. The farmlands of the Mission Valley we worry about. We worry about the large lot zoning, the 2-acre, the 5-acre, the 10-acre per lot zoning, which like in so much of El Paso or our country, turns farmlands into something that looks like this. The plan talks about clustering, same number of development rights. You want houses and workplaces and places to shop, but clustered, and ideally around a plaza. And there's a tradition, a Hispanic tradition of urbanism with the plaza, a dense center and single-family housing throughout. And by virtue of building densely in one spot, you're able to preserve farmland in others. This is a market-based way to preserve farmland that doesn't require buying the whole farm. In the Isleta area, a different situation. Here, around that mission, we were talking about urbanizing and densifying, creating complete, compact, walkable areas. It kind of looks like this. This is essentially the gateway to Isleta, Alameda Street and Harris Street, looking down Alameda. And this is what it looks like. This is the architectural character. This is the feel. These are the sidewalks. It works for what it's trying to do. It is a lot of low-cost commercial space and job opportunities. That's fine. But what would be ideal is to create a better public environment. Streets, sidewalks, lighting, and then public investment is followed by private investment. There's a design guideline component to the plan, which talks about how new investment could come in a way that's in keeping with the historic character and helps to regenerate walkable centers like there once were. What if, right? All throughout that idea, public investment doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be sidewalks and street trees. Sometimes it could just be moving power lines to the middle of the blocks or moving them out of sight. Fencing, power lines get in the way of this area rejuvenating. People were talking about a center in Socorro. They want to arrive somewhere and know that they are there, and this is Socorro, and this is somewhere unique. There are candidates for it. One especially was over, take a look down this. This is Socorro Road. This is looking at Speaking Rock down at the end. Now, Socorro Road is a road that has to move a lot of traffic, and it should continue to move a lot of traffic and be wide and fast enough that it can do that. But every once in a while, you could reach spots where you have a center of pedestrian activity, of people being there. And in those centers, it isn't as much about the parking and the curb cuts and the width, but it could actually be more about urbanism, about this is a before and after of the same place, though hard to believe. This is just adding some streets up to the sidewalk, better sidewalks, parking in the back, on-street dining becomes legal, crosswalks. These ideas were all inspired by our work at the Isleta, at the reservation, inspired by the colors and the shapes and the textures. So this is land controlled by the tribe, and they were interested in this sort of idea. They were interested in, Speaking Rock kind of does it already. When you look down Socorro Road, you see Speaking Rock, you feel like you're in an outdoor room, you feel like you've arrived somewhere. Then you take that turn. It's already got the bones for creating a great place. Another candidate, other possibilities. At the Socorro Mission, we looked at the big, huge parking lot that is in front of the mission, and we kept drawing. We could fit a whole community there. We could fit Renaissance Florence inside that parking lot, and the community said, no, don't do that at all. They didn't want anything in front of the mission. They said the parking lot has its purpose when it comes time for events. That is completely necessary. The cemetery is entirely used. So this is one of those trial and error things where our team kept drawing. And in the end, the consensus item, what the community could really agree on, was simply just an improvement to the foreground, the area right in front of the mission. The hard part of urban planning is knowing when to stop. And the community was loud and clear on that one. This alone, this is already part of the project that they're working on to create an informal plaza space in front of the mission, and that's fine. There are other areas talking to local landowners where they would like to see more happen. The Casa Ortiz was recently redone by a local property owner. You probably know these buildings as you drive along Socorro Road. If we zoom out, this is what those two structures look like. And then across the street is the theater. And you see down in the foreground, way at the edge, you see the mission. Well, this was a property owner who he keeps coming with ideas, and he's trying, and they're not working. The land development regulations aren't quite allowing for it. The zoning's kind of a mismatch. So we worked with him on his ideal situation. He owns quite a bit of land off of Socorro Road, and we just tried to imagine placemaking. Walkable mixed-use district with a lot of buildings. It looks kind of like downtown El Paso, only 1 or 2 story structures. We're trying to imagine with him that if he had free reign from the setbacks and the bulk regulations and the zoning requirements, if he was able to really build that center, what could he get? And what he got, I think, for a lot of people was an exciting possible vision, The local grocery and employment centers that work for locals, the hotels that would bring people downtown, a civic building that brings a presence, a county presence, or a municipal city presence to that area. Everything around a plaza and surrounded by residences on all the different sides. So in this case, this isn't asking anything of the county. This is really working with a private property owner to imagine what he could do and trying to change the regulations to unlock potential. As we go in the San Elizario Historic District, then you start to arrive to more sacred ground. When you start to make changes there, you want them to be very small and incremental. There is the theater. Right on the side of it is a spot that's used for parking quite often, and that's fine. Talking to the owners of that theater, they have imagined possibly having a square in that spot. cafes, restaurants facing a plaza. It's been hard for San Elizario to keep restaurants open. Creating a spot that they could all face in on was one of the ideas in that. Talking to the community in San Elizario, they're currently working on projects that showcase the agriculture that they have, especially agriculture that has native plants that are good for the pollinators, for the bees and the butterflies, and the insect life, which brings other animals and keeps everything healthy. So we were talking about that and how urban design could amplify their efforts in that way. I had gone to a conference in San Francisco. I saw the first pollinator boulevard at one of the first mission districts in our country. This is where they just took a median, would ordinarily have just been, turf or gravel, and they turned it into a spot that attracts bees and butterflies and small birds and little animals. And by bringing the pollinators to that area, it benefits everybody's backyards and all of the cucumbers and the tomatoes that people are trying to build and grow. So little ideas, big ideas and little ideas. The little idea is just picking spots where, for instance, in this one, instead of people parking perpendicular to the building, people parking parallel, creates some room for a tiny little plaza, a pollinator planting strip. We talked to the owner of the gallery there, and she liked the idea, and it was hard to find ways to get the money in order to do projects like this. So the next part of the plan talks about economic development and how to pay for these. This area is a spiritual center. It's a center of art. Great world-class artists are working in that area. The plan does a lot in terms of the goals and the policies to encourage them. The plan talks about Socorro Road and street sections that would be appropriate to it. Plans for large trails to connect everything. We didn't just say trails, we also drew trails along the canals. Those purple lines are the lines that would connect all of the different canal trails in the attempt to create a world-class, or at least nationally known destination. One could travel on foot and never have to touch concrete or asphalt and go from mission to mission along this system of trails. I know your time is valuable. This is the economic section where we talked about who's there, why they're there, concerns they have about opening businesses. Asked people in that area. We did an in-depth study, a survey, and we talked to over 600 people, and half of them said it was a coin flip. Half the people were interested in investing in that area, and the other half were not. At the same time, in terms of, an overall goal, we're trying to bring people, make them more comfortable with the idea of investing. The Mission Trail is a world-class destination, no less. That's something that brings everyone together. Bigger goals, big plans are easier to implement than smaller ones. When you start to talk to the community about it as a world-class destination, you start to get people more excited in the idea of investing. Let me skip ahead a bit and talk about what the market could support in that area. Right now, currently, under existing trend, it's difficult to open up a restaurant. It's hard to imagine a hotel. But the plan imagines these other investments. With some degree of plan implementation, we see in the next 2 to 10 years, 100,000 square feet of leasable retail and restaurant. We see quite a bit more housing, 400 to 650 more units. Office remains limited because El Paso, the center city here, is the best place for office, Class A and Class B office space. But we see, working through the economic projections, just imagining a small amount of stimulus in a way, we see room for lodging and hospitality and rooms in the Mission Valley area. The plan goes into detail about this. And this is one of the funding mechanisms that we talk about the most. Public improvement districts. As you drive around the country and you find these places that have benches and signs and have these wonderful little planters, often it's a business improvement district or a public improvement district that actually implemented that. And so what the plan does, and just what PIDs are here locally, it's businesses paying an assessment to clean streets, provide security, make capital improvements, construct pedestrian and streetscape enhancements, and market the area. And it also provides a full-time staff, or at least one person whose job it is to go out, similar to what staff is doing currently, and advertise these areas. In a PID district like this, on Alameda, you could imagine, and the way it works in Texas is you have to get agreement. 50% of the people who would be in this assessment have to agree that they want to be assessed. So it's work. It's a public information campaign. But it's the kind of thing that removes the power lines or puts them at the back, that puts in walkways and crosswalks, benches and street trees with irrigation, new buildings, new signage. A public improvement district is the kind of thing that we think could make the difference in that area. And the plan talks quite a bit about the installation of those. Just a couple more things on the design guidelines. We researched what's best and unique about the different communities. Socorro and San Elizario and Sleta, they're different. And the design standards talk about enhancing that with rules, guidelines for new development. I like the part that talks about the specific architectural styles. There can be a little bit of confusion about the Pueblo Colonial versus Pueblo Revival versus the territorial style versus Spanish Mission. You end up just getting a parapet with a bell, which is good. The heart's in the right place, but the guidelines talk more specifically about these areas, their unique histories, and how architecture could better reflect the unique histories. Now, the last part of it is the UNESCO designation. We live in a difficult time for getting designated. As of January 2019 of this year, our country is no longer participating in UNESCO, and we haven't paid our dues in quite a while. So right now is a bad time to go to UNESCO to look for that designation. But administrations come and go, priorities change. UNESCO remains the gold standard for world destination heritage sites, and there are a lot of different sites throughout the country. We believe Mission Valley will eventually be added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Same, and one of the reasons is because the Great Camino Real, the great road of the Spanish Empire from Mexico City all the way up to Santa Fe, this Mission Valley is on it. And Mexico has done a phenomenal job turning these areas into UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We're one segment of that larger trip. The Camino Real de Tierra is a 1,600-mile-long trade route that's existed for a long time. There's not a lot of 1,600-mile-long trade routes in the world. To be on that is something special, and we feel like that's what gives power to this designation. There's a lot of historic structures that could use, 1,000 more tourists a day visiting them, and 10,000 more people a month expressing interest in preservation along this trail. And I personally, I've always believed that, and I work all over the place and travel all over the country, and I've always thought the Mission Valley is one of the best kept secrets. It's one of the most valuable unpolished gems that I ever get to see. I have absolute confidence that this area's best days are ahead of it. And approving this plan is a first step in that direction. So thank you very much for your time today. I'm available to answer any questions.
I guess I'd like just an observation. I'm sure we know of the obvious things that, we keep thinking about how an incredible trail it is, and you see other communities have done this decades ago, and what do you see, or with all the discussions you've had traveling around the world, what's missing that doesn't ignite us to that level, that we should be? It's obvious to everybody.
Right.
I don't think you could ask anybody that says, is there a potential?
Right.
You get a 90% vote on that. Could you talk a little bit about what are some of the challenges that we need to address in order to really start moving in the right direction and expedite all the work that you've done?
Sure. So San Antonio last year got its UNESCO World Heritage designation. And the centerpiece of that application was the Alamo. a structure which is nowhere near as old or even as architecturally interesting as the Missions, to be quite frank. But what the Alamo has done a great job in doing is interpretation. When you go there, there's an excellent restaurant and gift shop and beautiful boards, and there are people who are taking you through that experience. So we talked to the planners there that worked on the UNESCO designation for San Antonio, and they said it had taken them 10 years to get to the point that San Antonio is at now, to even get the Alamo to the point where it is as accessible as it is. I honestly think time is really all that this takes. You know, this plan, everything in this plan is good for the Mission Valley, but it's also good for the UNESCO designation. I just think it's time. I think it's, you're not going to, Mission Valley isn't going to attract the Googles of the world, and we don't want to. It's just the slow progress made year after year, small investments by the private sector, small investments made by the county, one thing after another. One thing I would recommend is to be strategic. The plan focuses the investments around the missions. The county's so large. If you spread it out so much, it doesn't have the same effect. So I recommend just getting on this path, focusing investments around these areas, and putting in the time it takes in order to, one achievement after another, reach that place. I don't think there's a silver bullet. I think it's sort of a struggle. But what I've always known about El Pasoans is that in their heads, progress is sort of generational. Maybe not in my time, but in my kids. Maybe not in my kids' time, but in my grandkids. I see that. So I just say, bring together your efforts, focus them, and start on that path. There isn't any silver bullet, but you have a community that's willing to work on it.
You know, we had a similar discussion with the Paso del Norte Trail that one of the issues that we needed to look at as we were developing it, that we didn't have a culture of, you know, our citizens riding bikes and hiking. And so you're creating a trail, but the culture's way behind. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is how do we create the culture as we're thinking of these things?
Right.
You know, the promotional part, our own citizens visiting, our own, you know, not trying to get people from out of town when our own citizens or residents are not even taking advantage of such a beautiful opportunity. And
yeah.
So is there any component that you would recommend that we would create that culture of going to the missions, of, you know, which is which? You know, do you put the restaurant and hoping they'll come? Or do you get the culture going and then you set yourself up for people wanting to have the restaurant so that because it accommodates them? So
yeah,
it's almost like a catch-22 kind of chicken or the egg kind of thing. And could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So on the one hand, there's macro changes that are happening. So this generation, this younger generation, younger than me, younger than you, they're interested in things that their parents weren't interested in. I think El Pasoans of the last couple of generations, as long as you had a house and you had a car, what more could you really ask? But this next generation wants something different than their parents. Their parents have the house and they have the car, and they're trying to differentiate themselves. And now all of a sudden it's the bike and it's the e-scooter. I think the parents, we just need to take our kids to Little League. That's what more could you ask of the weekend? This next generation is interested in cafes and coffee shops, and they're interested in music. We might have just been content to drive down there and go to a gallery, buy a big piece of art once a week, once a month, once a year. They want to know the artists and go down there and make stuff themselves, whether it's pottery or... So I think the culture is just changing on its own in ways that benefit the area. And when you talk to the young people who chose to live in that area, and they're different. There's a lot of piercings and tattoos. They're different. But they're artists who are attracted to the raw spirituality of that area. So I would say the people, number one, are already changing there. And generationally, they're already interested in it.
Okay, that's good insight.
When it comes time to open up that restaurant, don't make it the restaurant for me or you. Make it the restaurant for the people who are moving in. And that's going to be a little bit different, you know. Sort of channeling that, cluing into that, the Valeries of the world, not the Jasons. I think is really going to be one of the ways to get people. And I see it like on the Playa Drain Trail. I went onto that yesterday. There's people on it. They're walking their dogs and they're on their bikes. That's the first bit of a longer segment. Part of the reason it doesn't seem like anyone wants to bike or walk in that area is because it's just not safe to do that yet. It's hot. There's no shade, and they're not going to do something that's just dangerous. Mm-hmm. But as these trail segments start to increase, I think you are going to see that it sinks.
Like connectivity.
Yeah, exactly. Connectivity to different areas where people live, and I think you're going to see it's in sync with what the next generation is looking for.
Well, and that's great insight for our court to see, what do we support? I know our healthy focus from Commissioner Stout. I mean, how do we combine that? How do we start focusing on people wanting to go there but not go there and you can't find a place to eat or drink water, or that's not going to happen. So it looks like we have to get ahead of the curve as well and not just wait for it to happen. And I think that delay has been that. Let's just wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be really stimulating that, the mission trails with other activities. So
I completely agree. I hope this plan helps do that. I hope this plan sort of stirred up some of those younger people.
Yeah, it's
and I hope you'll see something come out of it, even without adopting the plan, just because of the conversation that we had down there.
Yeah, no, a participant is very, very active, very, very interactive. So
yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for your work. I don't know, Commissioners. Commissioner Perez.
Well, thanks for all your work on this. As I've said before, one of the biggest challenges is the fact that each one of the missions and the chapel lie within a different municipality.
Right.
We have the city administrator from San Rosario here, Ms. Maya Sanchez. Thank you for being here. What's being done to engage? Are you going to be making this presentation to each of the municipalities at their respective council meetings? And I guess what's being done to sort of synthesize efforts to do our best? And I think that was the intent of the county. Trying to provide, something for each of the municipalities as a guiding document, because it's difficult for, I think, one single municipality to take the lead. But with turnover, in each one of the municipalities and possibly the county, I mean, how do we ensure that a plan like this, continues to move forward? And that's why I was wondering if there's going to be outreach to the municipalities and presentations so that they can start implementation phases or things that can be done from their side of things.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good question. In generating the plan, there was quite a bit of working with the different municipalities. Now that there's a plan, there's a PowerPoint presentation, and there's more opportunity to go to them. Now it feels even more real. Maybe not me, but Valerie's a great representative of this project. Or Carlos Gallinar, one of the sub-consultants that we had on the team. He lives in El Paso, and he loves talking to people. So I think now is actually the time to get the information out, to continue to have those meetings that you're describing. Then think of the plan as a living document. Maybe we didn't get it right in one spot. Maybe there's room for improvement in another. Make the changes, make the changes to the document as the conversation evolves. So you're going into the communities not defending the work, but incorporating what they're looking to do. So yeah, let's say yes to a continued broad public involvement in the municipalities. Let's say yes to the controversy. I know there's some stuff in here that rattles some people. Great, at least it gets them talking, and let's take their ideas and put them in the plan too.
Well, you're doing what our community has asked forever, and that is get us involved before you decide what's good for us, and you're doing that. And we presented the El Paso the trail, Paso del Norte trail, to the rural mayors, and I think it was very effective. And so, Valerie, you're welcome. We're meeting periodically, and those are the kinds of things that help, even if it's Benton, because that connects them with a mission, and so we'll put it on our agenda as well to continue that promotion. Whatever help you can give us to make that presentation.
Anytime you send me a ticket to come to El Paso, I come. So
okay,
there's no problem there. So I'm not putting it completely on her shoulders.
You mean you don't live here?
I know. For 8 years, I've been working in El Paso. I'm here almost enough to vote as a Texan.
Okay.
But no, not exactly yet.
Well, thank you.
And also, we received a presentation last week from TxDOT, and they're looking to make improvements along the Alameda corridor, which would affect the Isleta mission. And they've already been working with the TIGWA on designs and sidewalk improvements and things like that. you might want to just touch base with them
Yeah.
to let them know this is also going on. But the T did provide feedback to TxDOT, but just to make sure that, there's not two different planning processes going on that really aren't, in touch with one another. But
That's right.
They're currently going through that process.
Absolutely. We got to meet with TxDOT early on. We got
Okay.
to look at their plans, but you're right. It's a continuing conversation. We need to check back in, see where their drawings are, see what the Tiguan thinking is.
Yeah, they did present some illustrations last week that were just still not finalized yet, but they were just giving an update as to where they were on that corridor project.
Thank
great,
you, Mr.
yeah.
King. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to work in El Paso.
Thank you. Valerie, thank you for your help. And Sam. Yes, Mrs. Sanchez.
Good morning, Honorable Judge, Commissioners. My name is Maya Sanchez, the City Administrator for the City of San Luisario. I'm very happy to be here. I want to thank the Economic Development Department as well as the collaborators and consulting firms that have helped out. I've really enjoyed being a part of this process, and today I stand before you coming from several perspectives. One, of course, City Administrator. As a city employee, I'm tasked with creating policy for the City of San Luisario. Two, as a business owner and property owner on the Mission Trail. My father's here with me. He's the one who actually owns the property, but being an only child, it will eventually be mine, and we're making steps towards that. And then three, just as a resident of San Luisario, what happens on the Mission Trail, whether I lived and worked on it, is going to affect me. So I wanted, I feel that I will be able to answer some of the questions you had, and I'm here first and foremost in support of this plan. I want to thank Valerie. She's come out several times to allow us to continue to give feedback on this plan. But of course, as we know, this is just a first step. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what it's like to actually be affected by a plan like this. In my lifetime, this is the second time that a comprehensive plan for the Mission Trail has been crafted. If you ask, back in 1993 when the comprehensive plan was done, to today, has the Mission Trail gotten better or worse? Aesthetically, I can guarantee you it's gotten worse, unfortunately. But we are all on board with making it better. That's not the problem. We completely buy into making it better. As you all know, there's a lot of redevelopment and rehabilitation of downtown involving historic preservation. Most of the hotels that are being done and the different buildings that are being rehabilitated are owned by developers. Now we're talking about companies with teams of financial experts who know how to negotiate and parlay the different incentives that are made available to help these projects along. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any available to us, but very little of the Mission Trail is actually owned by developers. It's individual people. And the demographic portion of this plan clearly outlines what that economic landscape looks like. And unfortunately, we don't have that expertise. We have little direction on where to get that expertise. And many of you know my family's experience with incentives along the Mission Trail. Back in 1979, my father received a letter from then county judge saying if you rehabilitate your property, you're eligible for tax incentives from the county. Well, 10 years later, $50,000 of his own money, no incentives, his building burns down. So he spends the next 10 years. We do eventually, or he does, rehabilitates his burnt building, utilizing an incentive program that the county put forth, the revolving loan plan. His property tax from the county alone went from $600 on a burnt building to $6,000 the very next year. We almost lost that property. So the challenge is not accepting, the comprehensive plan's design standards is asking property owners to be held to a higher standard when it comes to improving your house or your business than a lot of the county. And so we're not asking for handouts, we're asking for collaboration. And the city is very much on board, and the city is very much responsible in providing that help. Things like, well, what incentives are there? Yes, the county currently has incentives for the Mission Trail, but I know that very few have actually participated in them, simply because the old adage, it takes money to make money. You invest $10,000 in your property, you will get back that money to a certain percentage. That 10,000 is what these people don't have, what we don't have. And so that's part of the challenge with the current incentive program. However, helping us, I attended a program, the PACE program, that's now being pushed in Texas, that the Economic Development Department held. I went there obviously as an administrator to see how it may help people in my community, but also, as mentioned before, as a property owner. And so the PACE program is wonderful. It helps you, it gives you loans to, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, you probably know about it, but for those who don't, it helps you make environmentally sustainable changes to your commercial properties. Now, I was all gung-ho. I brought it back to my team, which is my husband and my parents, and I said, look, we can actually get refrigerated air, put in solar panels, put in a rainwater harvesting system for our garden. But all of them kind of shot it down. And part of it is because the program is not based on paying a loan back, but paying on the assessed taxed value that will be resulted as a result of those improvements. And my husband just yesterday said, Maya, your parents almost lost the property the first time because of that. I'm wrapping up. Why are we going to do it again? So unfortunately for now, the PACE program is off the table. So again, a first step, but I think us as a city and the county and different partners can work together to help guide people to what would be best for them to help in these improvements. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sam, so it looks like those barriers are very, very, they're so obvious. When I asked the question, what's keeping, well, if you can't stimulate the existing or grow organically, what I've seen all over the country, first you grow organically, then other people get interested, and then they come in and want to invest. But if you don't do the organic part of it, so any comments about how we would address that?
Sam Trujillo, Intern Director with the Economic Development Department. So what you've heard, just a small tidbit of conversations that's been taking place. The main thing I wanted to let the commission know is that I'm not going to be riding an e-scooter, just so you know. But
you
promised. I'll fall off. But I like the idea that has been coming forth with this plan and the comments that we've received. So I think we need to keep an open mind. Just last week we talked about changing the way we're doing incentives, which would give us an opening here to be able to do some things a little bit different to bring this area to the level that we want it to be. I don't think that's the argument here, that everybody wants to see this. It's just a matter of how can we get it there.
How do we do that?
So one thing I think is there's been more attention drawn to this. There's a focus on it right now. We've already started some funding projects, which the commission recently approved at the Los Portales Museum. So it's a matter of chipping away at this plan, keep it in at the forefront. Our department bringing it forward, working with the community. As far as the plan itself is concerned, we right now is the first presentation to the commissioners. It's still a draft plan. We're going to be waiting for any comments or changes, plus the comments that we've already received. We'll work with the contractor and then come back to the Commissioners Court with a final plan. But I think Mr. King mentioned it, that it is a living document. I think we need to be prepared to change as the conditions change as well. But I would like to see more capabilities for the residents over there to be able to help build this area up. So we'll be working with them and working on this plan.
I think the big asset and change is, Betsy, is just economic development being on top of it. Because I think when we look the other way and we got 10,000 other things, somebody has to keep it moving forward. And I think that's where you guys have come in to keep that, sort of embrace it and keep it moving forward for us and bringing it to the court. And so I appreciate that work.
Yes, sir. And it's also, as we've been going through this, and I have some notes, and it's working with planning and development, and it's working with our parks department, and just developing, and even Anna, who's our government affairs manager, developing those relationships, working on the collaboratives with these other areas and those municipalities, including the city of El Paso, to work towards these improvements.
Yeah. Those are great resources. Commissioner Leon?
One of the things that I've heard before, Ms. Sanchez, is just what you described insofar as making an improvement along certain zones. I wonder if the CAD would consider that this investment took X amount of dollars, and instead of hitting you up the very next year with a huge tax bill, that it's somehow graduated and spread out over a period of 5-10 years. But that would mean bringing in another entity to have some sort of, I don't even know if that's a possibility. But you're not the first one that has described this kind of hurdle that you have to jump.
And I'm glad that that's being brought up. If I could just add a couple of additional comments on that note. One of the things that I really like about this plan is that it includes both short-term achievable goals like establishment of culture and sense of place through very, very quick interventions that can be handled through installations of public art, which are very accessible to both residents and tourists. And then there's long-term goals. One of the things that Jason didn't mention was the suggestion for the establishment of a multi-jurisdictional historic overlay. And one of the things that Maya also brought to my attention was the establishment of an existing state level and county level overlay back in 1993, which makes it very difficult for San Elizario to address their own needs within their Historic Preservation Commission. And so those are just a couple of examples of some of the more long-term things that will need to be established, even at the state level, in order to make these things more doable and more easily attainable. But thank you for all of the feedback.
No, thank you guys. Very thoughtful. Commissioner Perez?
I mean, and we talked about this a little bit last week in talking about diversifying the tools that we have available for economic development. I think for too long we've relied on property tax abatement, and it's just not sufficient, especially when it comes to the types of properties along the Mission Trail corridor. But that's where, to Commissioner Lowen's point, it doesn't necessarily have to be CAD. I mean, CAD will value the property at whatever it's going to be valued at, but then the taxing entities, though, have an opportunity to perhaps abate the taxes associated with that. And then we need to enter into partner 381 agreements with, I guess they would be 380s with the cities, with Socorro, San Eli, and El Paso, along that corridor. And then perhaps something else that we can look at is also, as we talked about, is in looking to implement this plan, a revolving loan fund or something to that, maybe where we're offering low interest loans to implement, things that go along with this plan. And so perhaps I'm trying to tie it in. Okay. But we had those conversations, and perhaps those are tools that we can explore that, what's going to work best. And maybe there's something else out there that, we just haven't thought of yet. But there's a lot of things that we can explore that we haven't tried just yet.
Commissioner, thank you. The bottom line is there's opportunities here, and we just need to be creative with finding those solutions. So thank you. We'll get busy working on them.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great work. Ms. Sanchez, thank you.
Item number 13, Public Works. Approve and authorize the county judge to sign the Fourth Amendment to the interlocal agreement with the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority for additional construction services to the Vista del Sol widening and reconstruction project. No county funds are required. Contract number 2019-0476.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner Sal Alonso, Planning and Development Department. This item before you is the amendment for the Vista del Sol widening project. We're coming to winding the project at the end of August. Throughout the projects, we ran into some unknown utilities that were in the way, so we had to make some modifications during construction. County staff approves, makes the recommendation for approval. Sorry.
Commissioner Leon.
Sal, thank you. Good morning. I was out there last week, and I live in the area, but that road is beautiful. The county has done an outstanding job with those sidewalks, the lighting, the median. And the folks there that live in that area are really excited about not only is it functional, but it's really aesthetically beautiful. So, great job to Public Works. They just went all out. And it used to be really, when you left the city limits and went into county arteries, you could see the difference.
Yes.
And now you can see the difference the other way around.
Yes,
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sal.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 14, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the First Amendment to the interlocal agreement with the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority for additional design services to the Pelicano widening and reconstruction project. No county funds are required. Contract number 2019-0477.
For the record again, Sal Alonso, Planning and Development. This amendment, number one, is for the Pelicano widening. This is we had to do some additional surveying to verify some property corners along the way. Also, we had to, if you recall, we had to make some modifications to the phasing plan for the overall construction plans. So the design is all but complete, just pending the environmental approval for us to move forward to the next stage. Staff recommends approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I know I asked you last week, when do you anticipate, once you go through all these hurdles that you have to jump, the start of the program, the project?
Well, right now, the main obstacle, as you may know, is the environmental. We've gone through the public hearing about a couple weeks ago already. We've gotten feedback, all positive, so we're in process of submitting everything back to TxDOT with our response back to the public. I see the end of the tunnel for the environmental. I'm looking to hopefully have the approval of the environmental in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. Soon after that, we'll move forward to the next stage, which would be to acquire the right-of-way needed. And then once that is obtained, we'll be allowed to move forward to let the project. Right now, we're anticipating to let this project in fall, looking at late October, early November of this year.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. And then construction to follow right after that because of the timing. So.
Commissioner Robinson.
This changes to the initial design.
Yes, sir.
That's not costing us anything?
What we're using.
Change orders.
This change for the design is accounted for through the VRF funds that we have. So we're not using any general funds. It's all through the VRF vehicle registration funds that we have set aside for these projects.
Okay. Well, but my basic question is that when we have changes in design and we do change orders that we initiate, we do have to pay for them.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. But if the change order is made by the developer or the contractor, they pay for it.
That is correct. Yes. If we were on the field and it was a developer wanting a new median opening where we didn't account for one, they would be obligated to pay for all the changes regarding the design or any construction of the improvements.
I know it's not possible to say that everything's going to be perfect every time you design something, but is there a way that we can minimize the number of design changes? Because invariably the design changes do cost us more money. Maybe we would allocate a certain amount for the project, but I'm looking as far as how we can minimize those change orders and save money when we do these projects.
Yes, sir. Actually, in all the projects that we've done, and I'm happy to say we've done several construction projects, design and construction, starting with the Mission Ridge under our belt. And what we've done over the course of each project is we learn what we missed on the first project. So as we move forward to other projects, we try to capture every little thing, possibility to avoid any change orders. And of course, you know, for me to say that any construction project will have 0 change orders, that's not really likelihood, but we make sure that our team is aware to make sure we capture everything to prevent any change orders.
Is there a part of the team or individual that does the design review after you've designed the project?
Yes, the team, the way it's set up right now, it's myself that represents the county, and then also we have the Camino Real and their team, which is Atkins, and we have 3 other project engineers as well under that, looking at these plan sets. So it's not just my set of eyes that review these plan sets, it's about 4 other engineers that look in detail on these design plans, and that has helped prevent any big change orders because we were able to catch everything before we go out to construction. But once under construction, the existing conditions are sometimes out of our control. If there's an existing storm line or a gas line that's supposed to be as per the as-built 5 feet from the curb or gutter, and when we're in there, we're trenching, it's actually only 2 feet now, it's going to be in conflict with the storm sewer. So those are adjustments that we have to do in the field, and those are the change orders are hard to kind of forecast.
And we are doing coordination with the utilities to make
Yes, sir.
sure that...
Definitely, yes. We, at the beginning of the design, it was one thing that we wanted to make sure that we were part of, and this is why we've been able to work with El Paso Water Utilities very well, is because we meet with them several months ahead before we go into the design and let them know what the county is in the forecast project-wise, so they could start looking at maybe piggybacking off of our own construction bid, because since today with that approach they've been able to piggyback off bids for Mission Ridge Phase 1, Vista del Sol, Edgemere, and now Pelicano. And what that does is we don't build a road and then 6 months later we see El Paso Water to ripping everything up. So we're working with them on a daily basis with them to make sure that they get financially funding appropriate to the years to match our obligations as we move forward with our construction projects.
Excellent.
I don't want to get off subject because legal will beat me up, but I'll talk with you offline in regards to construction work done by the utility company and what their obligation is to replenish the road back to where it was, or better.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pettis?
Sal, just for clarification, it says that there's no county funds are required, but then it says that the fiscal impact is 100,000. Is that coming from the existing?
It's coming from the VRF.
VRF fund. So it's just basically no additional, because that's already been allocated for contingencies.
That's correct, yes.
So there is a fiscal impact technically, but it's just already been accounted for in the contingency fund.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion, commissioners?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 15, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the commitment letter to provide in-kind technical services in support of the El Paso, Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Center's application to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality Non-Point Source Program for the development of the Greater El Paso Watershed Protection Plan. No county funds are required. Opinion number 19459.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Jose Landeros with Planning and Development Department. The item before you is a follow-up to the presentation that the AgriLife Extension made to the Commissioners Court during this month's special session on July 18th. As the court may recall, the AgriLife Center of El Paso has proposed a partnership with the county to develop a watershed protection plan for the greater El Paso area, which would primarily benefit the county because it would provide the county with a number of alternatives for stormwater hazard mitigation that are non-traditional in terms of not necessarily gray infrastructure, but green infrastructure. So instead of building these huge concrete retention ponds and basins, you could look at introducing low-impact development projects such as additional landscaping, xeriscaping, the creation of green belts, all of which are used not to replace these large gray infrastructure projects, but to complement them. And so because of this plan, the grant funds that AgriLife Extension are going after is funds from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They require a 40% local match, I should say, excuse me, and that 40% local match can be provided in kind. And AgriLife Extension is proposing to provide certain in-kind monies to the project and by dedicating staff time to this. County staff, at the direction of the court during the special session conversation, has met with AgriLife Extension and identified a number of in-kind resources from staff time that we could provide in lieu of any actual general fund dollars. And so this commitment letter is the county's commitment to provide those in-kind services if at such time that a grant is awarded to AgriLife Extension, because they would be the primary applicant. We would then actually come back and request an interlocal agreement with AgriLife Extension to memorialize the relationship between the county and AgriLife. But at this point, this is just to submit a letter of commitment from the county so that AgriLife Extension may submit that to the granting agency. And if the funds are granted, at that point, the county would then have to enter into an interlocal agreement. But no funds are required from the county. We could meet that 40% local match by simply the amount of staff time that will be used to develop the watershed protection plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Bettis is absent. Commissioner Leon is absent. Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you,
carries.
Judge Commissioners.
Thank you.
Item number 16, purchasing. Approve and authorize the purchase and installation of 55 Motorola APX 8500 all-brand MP mobile radios for the County of El Paso using Department of Information Resources Contract DIR TSO 4101, awarded to Motorola Solutions RTC Inc. of El Paso, Texas, in the amount of $287,978. Purchasing approved on July 16, 2019. Funding is available in SG JAG 2017 operating expense and SG Interop Communications 19 cap outlays.
Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. In this case, we're requesting approval to buy 55 units of telecommunications equipment for the Sheriff's Office. These 55 units, each unit is going to come to a little over $5,000. But this includes not only all related equipment, it includes the mounting, the programming, the encryption, and 3 years maintenance. And since this is through the state of Texas and it's Motorola, which is the emergency system, this is a good deal for the county.
Approve. Second.
Question.
Commissioner Robinson?
Is this part of the communication connectivity?
I believe so. These are the units, I think, that get mounted in the cars. If there's someone from the Sheriff's Office that can give you details, or I could defer to the Sheriff's Office and have them give you an answer.
Yeah, I was just curious, but is this for internal?
It's for
county or-
yes. Yes, but it has to, I believe this has to connect with the statewide communications
Okay,
equipment as well.
okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Bettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Judge Samaniego.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 17, approve and authorize the interagency agreement between the County of El Paso and the Office of Management and Enterprise Services of the State of Oklahoma. Contract number 2019-0515.
Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. In this case, I'm bringing before you a request to use the State of Oklahoma contracts. This has already been approved or reviewed by both purchasing and legal to make sure the contracts are usable. We want to put this in place ahead of time because there's going to be bus replacements coming up and new buses that need to be purchased. Normally, there is a Texas Smart Buy contract in place that would allow us to get those at an excellent price, but it's no longer in place for various reasons. And the TxDOT Director of Transportation Services has actually recommended that we either use Georgia or Oklahoma, and we chose Oklahoma, and that's the one that was reviewed. I'd like to state that getting this on file and getting an approved interlocal with the state of Oklahoma could possibly serve the county if future items come up and they happen to have a really attractive contract for us.
Approve.
Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Item number 18, Budget and Finance. Approve Amendment Number 42 to the County of El Paso's 2018 through 2019 operating budget. This budgetary amendment will increase special revenue by $3,250, increase grants by $1,102.43, thus increasing the overall budget of $444,894,998.05 to $444,899,350.48.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Wally Hargrove from the Office of Budget and Fiscal Policy. The backup for this week's agenda was sent to you with last week's weekly agenda update. Were there any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon? Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Judge Samaniego?
Aye.
Motion carries. This now brings us to item number 19, executive session. Commissioners' Court will recess into executive session to discuss items 19A through 19C pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.072. Commissioners' Court will reconvene to take official action.
Stay cool this summer by visiting any of the El Paso County pools, Tuesday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Don't forget about Family Night on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. For more information, call 915-771-2380.
The County of El Paso Public Works Department is offering sandbags at no cost or requirements to the public. The sandbags are outside of the facilities and are available 24 hours a day. The location of the county facilities are the following: the Road and Bridge Fabens Warehouse, located at 1331 North Fabens Street in Fabens, Texas, 79838. The Road and Bridge Canutillo Warehouse, located at 191 Canutillo Avenue in Canutillo, Texas, 79835. And the Road and Bridge Montana Warehouse, located at 14698 Van Lane, El Paso, Texas, 79938. Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barrid started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Commissioners Court has reconvened into regular open session. I believe we've completed all the items on today's agenda, Judge.
Meeting adjourned.
This completes today's meeting at 12:45 p.m.